Good evening. On behalf of the Board of Education, I call to order our board meeting for August. Today is Monday, August the 17th. Welcome to those joining us here in the auditorium as well as those watching online. Special welcome to ABSS staff, students, and families, and special guests. As always, our friends from the media, our partners from the Board of Commissioners have their own meeting this evening, so they will not be with us. Vice Chair Engel is not with us tonight. He is having a medical procedure done tomorrow, and he did ask that I ask you to keep him in your prayers. So we're hoping to have a good report on him tomorrow. And I think at this time, I will invite Ms. Harvey to lead us in the moment of silence and Pledge of Allegiance.
At this time, I ask that we just silence ourselves for a moment of silence, and afterwards we will do our Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. For those of you who are able, stand. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Board members, you've had an opportunity to review the agenda. Is there a motion to approve at this time?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0 unanimously. Board members, you've had the opportunity to review the minutes from 4 meetings in June, 2 meetings in July. Is there a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 5-0. At this time, I will invite Dr. Charles Parker to the podium and Ms. Emily Lynn Atkins, Public Information Officer, for special recognitions this evening.
Good evening, Chair Ellington Graves, members of the board, Dr. Fleming. We are just 1 week away from inviting students back to school, but there is a couple of things to recognize from our work over the summer. So I'd love to have our summer reading camp folks join me up at the front while I read a little bit about what they did. Under the leadership of Peter MJ, who's the director of our summer reading camp, we had 4 exceptional site coordinators. Mackenzie Strickland was at Elon Elementary, Jolanda Allen at Andrews, Kelly Holloway, y'all can come right up here, y'all are front and center. Kelly Holloway was at Garrett Elementary, and Heather Ellingworth at Holt. They worked very hard this summer to bring the summer reading camp with the vibrant theme, as you can see from their shirts, Show Your Colors. Together with a team of 40 staff members, these leaders provided quality, differentiated reading instruction to 530 second and third graders across our district. Their work also gave our students a sneak peek into Dragonfly, which is the new elementary curriculum that is rolling out as we speak. To make this experience even more impactful, they collaborated with community partners like the Alamance County Public Libraries, and they had the mobile checkout bookmobile directly at each site weekly, so those students can get used to checking out books and having books in their hands. So please join me in thanking Peter, Mackenzie, Jolanda, Kelly, and Heather for the entire summer reading camp and the entire summer reading camp staff for their incredible leadership and commitment to our students this summer.
Great. So I think we have a certificate to hand out, and we can do that. And Peter, I was wondering if you wanted to say a few words about this great program and some of the things that happened this summer.
Well, Emily Lynn did a great job of kind of summarizing that, but more than anything, we just wanted to get kids engaged with reading this summer. And these site coordinators did a really great job of providing that opportunity for our students. We had a great theme, Show Your Colors, and there was a lot of great engagement with art and with some just inspiration for kids as they were learning to read and grow, and it was really, really special. So just want to thank everybody for their hard work this summer.
Great, and I have to ask, does anyone else want to say anything, or we're just going to let that stand as the comment? Great. Is there anyone else here supporting you as far as the program? Maybe Dr. Turner? So, very nice. Thank you. So I think James may get a photo.
Yeah,
And then,
I'll scoot this way, please. Summer reading came through together. And a current future reader right there. Future reader leader right there. He knows where to look.
thanks again for your work this summer. It's a great program.
Thank you. Thank you. You want me to take that?
Thank you, Emily, Ms. Atkins. Thank you, Dr. Parker. All right, we will move into the public comments portion of our meeting. I will take a quick opportunity to very briefly review our policy. Section 2310 titled Public Participation at Board Meetings. The full policy is found online at the ABSS website. Per board policy, individuals who have signed up may speak for up to 3 minutes. The timer will chime after exactly 3 minutes, and we do ask that you plan accordingly and respect any additional directions given. Profanity, making threats, or revealing confidential student or personnel information will not be allowed. To our speakers, please be sure to address the members of the board with your comments and not the audience. To board members, please remember we do not respond to speakers except to request clarification of points made by the presenter. And to the members of our audience, we ask that you refrain from clapping, snapping, or vocalizing at any time during public comments. And tonight we have 2 speakers with us. When your name is called, please make your way to the podium and state your full name before beginning your comments. And our first speaker is Margaret Parker.
My name is Margaret Parker, and I am in. Oh, Margaret Ann Parker. My name is Margaret Parker, and I am in the 10th grade at Southeast Alamance High School. I would like to thank the Board of Education for this opportunity to talk about something that is important to me. I'm dyslexic, which, as you can imagine, makes being a student more difficult. When I was in the 6th grade, one of my teachers, Mr. Doyle, put something on my Chromebook that made all of the text appear in the font Open Dyslexic. This font is designed to help people with dyslexia read more clearly. Here is the alphabet in Open Dyslexia, and then in Google Sans, which is the default font for Chromebooks. Open Dyslexia works by making the bottom of the letters thicker, so it's harder for my brain to flip or mix the words, which makes a big difference for me. Open Dyslexia might not help everyone with dyslexia because different things help different people. Personally, I have troubles with mixing letters like B and D or P and Q. I also have trouble seeing letters and words in the correct order, and Open Dyslexia makes it much easier for me. First, I would like to make more people aware that this is available, and if you are a teacher or a parent, you can bring it up in your child's next 504 or IEP meeting. Currently, students need someone to put in a ticket and for the ticket to be approved by an administrator for the ability to have this Chromebook extension. I would like the Board of Education to consider making the Open Dyslexic Chromebook extension available to all students without the need of a ticket. So every student can try it without our administration getting a flood of tickets to approve. Dyslexia affects 1 in 10 people, and only a fraction of those people have accommodations. It's free, it can't hurt, and it might help. Thank you for considering this and for the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you.
Oh, and sorry, the thing that I passed around, the QR code at the bottom is a link that goes to the Chromebook extension.
Thank you. And our second speaker is Tiffany Rogers.
Good afternoon. My name is Tiffany Rogers. I need to speak my name first, right? All right, so thank you guys for allowing me to speak tonight. Good evening to the school board, superintendent, staff, parents, and members of our community. I'm here because I believe that when decisions are being made about our children, consistency and fairness must always be at the center of the process. And rules and policies are definitely necessary, but those rules should be very clear, applied consistency, and communicated, to every family in the same way. And unfortunately, like throughout this recent eligibility process, many parents were left with more questions than answers. Not directly just for me and my son, but a lot of his peers. So it affects both of us. At times, it appears that requirements were changing or additional personal questions involving finances or things that I think were really personal that should not be questioned were introduced, to families throughout the process. And parents didn't always have clear guidance about exactly what documentations are required, what steps need to be completed, or what they could do to help move the process forward. And I feel that that's a problem because students should not lose the opportunity to participate because of unclear rules, an administrative makes or delay or communication failure that was either outside of their control or within their control, and they just fully didn't understand. I feel that we also have to talk about what this process does to our children mentally and emotionally. Just imagine being a teenager who has practiced like all summer, work hard, build relationships with teammates and coaches, prepare for the season throughout school, and only to suddenly know that you're not sure whether you're going to be able to participate in a sport. And just imagine as well to watch your teammates practice and not know like whether they're going to be able to participate as well. It was something they have no control over. And that uncertainty actually creates a lot of stress, anxiety, frustration, disappointment, and sometimes feelings that students is being punished, even in a way when they have done nothing wrong, or something that once again is out of their control. And our students should never have to carry that emotional weight of an administrative process. Athletes are more than just sports. Some students, their team is, their support system. Sports give them structure, motivation, discipline, confidence, friendships, and reasons to stay connected to school, things that they may not see outside of school or outside of sports. Eligibility decisions can affect academics, mental well-being, college opportunities, scholarships, and a student's overall sense of belonging. I feel that policies should also recognize every family's circumstances are different. Housing situations change, financial circumstances change, emergencies happen, families move unexpectedly. Sorry,
I'm
my time
sorry.
went out. I'm sorry.
I'm
I just
sorry.
was going on and
You're
on.
welcome to, if you've got that prepared, you're welcome to share it with the board if you'd like.
And I will. Thank you guys
you.
for hearing me. Yep.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment session for this evening. Thank you both for being here to speak with the board this evening. At this time, I will turn the floor over to Mr. Messer, our Assistant Superintendent of Finance, for a budget amendment.
All right. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent. Before you tonight are three reconciled budgets, which make up the final and budget amendment number 3 for 25-26. The amended state public school fund budget does not increase revenue, but the only change is funding some system-wide support that was expensed during their year end as far as it relates to retirements and covering state-covered benefit costs, which related to system-wide support personnel. The local current expense fund, we're increasing revenue by $100,000 from the original budget because we received $100,000 more in fines and forfeitures that we had originally budgeted, which is a good thing. And there was some other movement between the PRCs, and that was to cover transportation, non-instructional support, and charter school expenses, which continues to grow every year. If you look at the detailed PRCs, you can see the movement between the two PRCs. And then last, we had some additional Title I funds come through as we were wrapping up the year, which we needed this budget. Of course, it'll carry over to 26-27. With this, the final, if approved, the final 25-26 amended budget for ABSS is $314,588,940.88, which is approximately $8.5 million less than the 24-25 school year, which we knew that with the loss of low wealth and, and federal funds that's released. Do you have any questions when reviewing the budget amendment?
Questions for Mr. Messer? Yes, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Messner, can you give that amount of the difference, the less difference from the previous year? You said it was 8 million and what?
8.5 million less than the 24-25
Okay.
school year. Mhm.
All right, thank you.
And just out of curiosity for the almost $500,000 increase in the charter school line, it looks kind of lumpy at the end of the year. Was there a particular reason for that, or just changes in local funding required an additional payment?
So when we originally made the budget of charter schools at the beginning of the year, we had budgeted for approximately 10.5%, but we wound up at a little over 11% total. And I just waited to the end of the school year, to make this movement in the final one, because we didn't know what our final payout was going to be once we received the final bills from the charter schools.
So it's just additional students that we needed to provide the local.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Any other questions?
Can I add one comment to that? Yeah, we've corrected that. I will correct that whenever I bring the budget resolution to the board to make sure that we bump that percentage up. We can always take money away at the end of the year, next year, if we need to. So.
Got it, thanks.
Did you have another question, Seneca? Mr. Rogers? Yes, sir.
Yep, so with that charter school, I guess just piggybacking off of what Dr. Parker was saying, that it was additional students, but, and this is more of a question that you didn't explain plenty of times up there, but can you just explain out the payout to the charter schools, and then the fact of that, I guess, when we pay out to the charter schools, if the students do end up back with us, that money still stays in that charter school fund, correct?
So we do it monthly. We reconcile our charter school expense every month. So if a student returns back to ABSS, payments stop immediately. So we don't make a full payment on a student at the beginning of the year for the whole year. We reconcile and do it monthly. So once that student returns to us, then the money stays with us once we receive it from the commissioners.
Okay, so if they, in the middle of the month, switch back to ABSS, then that following month, that money would not go to that charter school for that child?
That is correct.
Okay.
So just to clarify, really, instead of losing the rest of the year, we just lose part of a month?
That's correct.
Okay.
Do you know, and it may be too early, but do you know where we stand with charter school enrollment this year? Do we anticipate it being
It's
about
too
the same?
early.
Too
Yeah,
early?
too early. I wish we did know. Once we started getting in rosters in after the 10 to 8 a.m., then we had to start verifying addresses and go through that piece of it.
Thank you, Mr. Messer. Any other questions?
Motion to approve budget amendment?
Thank you, thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Messer.
Thank
And I believe you're up next, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Fleming as well for the next presentation.
Yeah, so we do have some guests with ESS with us. Mr. Messer will do the introductions here in just a moment, but I did want to share with the board, because I don't know that we've shared this before. We do have some folks with ESS here that wants to have a conversation, would like to have a conversation with us on potentially how to save some savings on benefit cost and some of those costs, employer paid costs that we incur by hiring our own employees in the classified areas. And no decision has been made on this. I'm not bringing any recommendation to you today, or Mr. Messer is not bringing a recommendation, but we felt like we needed to hear kind of from the private industry side on how contracting with someone would go in order to save some of these costs that we're paying. But I want to make it clear, especially to our classified staff, if we were to ever go this method, we would allow the employee to decide if they would go on contract or if they would stay with ABSS, because you have folks that have 25 plus years, 30 years in. We would not want to cut them from their state retirement. So I just want to make sure I make all that clear before we hear any of this. Again, even once the presentation is done, I'm not bringing a recommendation, but I would like to hear your opinion and your thoughts on making a move like this. So I think it's just important that we do the due diligence to put these folks in front of you, have this conversation, and then would love for you to have some conversation when it's done.
Yeah,
Thank
so thank you, Superintendent. Before I bring Robbie, you can come on up, Robbie. Just to give you a little bit of an intro. The cost of health insurance and the extremely high cost of the retirement contribution that we have to make on employees' wages has increased substantially over the last 10 years. And considering the way public school budgets are being pinched in all areas at the state, federal, and at local, just trying to think outside the box as to how we can maybe operate a little differently. And just to give you some numbers, I ran some quick math before I came in here. Of all of our TAs that are going to be paid with state funds out of State PRC 27 this coming month, there's 135 at the moment. That's not counting vacancies. But 46% of those they have 5 years or less experience with the school district, meaning that the likelihood of them staying through retirement is, who knows, but the odds are they're not going to stay for the next 20 years and retire from that. So just so you'll know that every penny that we pay to the retirement system on behalf of an employee, if they leave before that and there's no vest, then the state of North Carolina keeps that money. They don't give it to the employee. They don't send it back to us. The employee, the contributions they put in, they get. So just to give you an idea as to that. Best case scenario, if every one of our TAs were on contracted, then we would save annually right around $2 million. That's already budgeted in our budget on just benefit costs. Now, there are other districts that have already made this leap. He'll talk about them. 4 districts just jumped on with the pilot programs this past month. So I wanted to get this in front of you so you can consider about possibility of thinking outside the box to maximize the dollars that we do have. This is Robbie Nelson from ABSS, and I'll let him present to you, and then I'll come back and answer any questions that.
I appreciate it, Tony. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Thank you, board, for having me. I really appreciate that. I guess you're clicking it for me? Perfect. So obviously, our employees, right, our teachers are the heart of every organization here, right? A lot of people don't realize that hiring teachers, you're looking at about $15,000 to $20,000 to hire a teacher. That does not include their salary. So that cost is exponential, right, over the years. One thing that we did not mention is this program is really geared toward your lower tier positions, your teacher assistant type positions, people that are making $22,000 to $28,000 a year, okay? And as Dr. Fleming said previously, this is done through an attrition model, okay? We don't want to affect anyone with their pension that's been here for 10, 15 years, right? But what we've seen in most districts is a high turnover rate. When you're talking employees that are making less than 30 grand a year, it's a revolving door, right? So that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you with those employees and fill those vacancies. So employee-related costs, right? You've got recruiting costs, as I just mentioned, increased wages, training costs, right? Pension, health benefits, all these continuously go up year after year after year. You also have your sick leave and your PTO that you're paying into that as well. So obviously some of these, the school system financial pressures, your state funding, right, which we've seen has not been great this year. North Carolina is really struggling when it comes to budgets. ESS has actually been known for the top provider of substitute teachers. We've actually had to pivot because our sub-program does cost the district money. Since we started this program's been going on for years in some of our lower level states, as Georgia and Florida. They've been doing it for years just because their pension and their state taxes are so high. North Carolina is catching them quickly. You'll see the savings here in a minute. But just so you know, we've had 4 districts sign on in the last week. We have 15 districts, not including those 4 in North Carolina, that are currently working with us on this program. Iredell, Statesville, right down the road from you all, they've been doing this program for, I want to say, 3 years. We saved them $1.2 million a year. You can reach out to Dr. James there. He's happy to tell you about the program. It's been going amazing. But that's a lot of money that's going back into your district. So here's your state pension contributions. Actually, the bar graph on the far right is incorrect. You are above 26% right now. That shows you the trajectory that we are on right now with your state pension, okay? Here's your health benefit cost. This time next year, you'll be over $9,000, and it continues on and on and on, okay? So what does that mean? Right here is what you're paying now these numbers are directly from your finance department. You're paying a salary of $28,463 for your teacher assistant. That's what they get paid. That number at the bottom is it's costing you all to have that employee. $47,279 for that $28,000 employee. Payroll taxes, state healthcare, pension, these numbers that continue to rise. Now the way it works is with us, we would take over all the payroll for that, okay? The same processes are in place for your hiring, right? We're going to handle the heavy lifting of recruiting, but your principals, your administrative team, they're going to be involved in the hiring process as well. They're going to be permanent employees of your school district, Monday through Friday, full-time. The difference is we handle all the liability, workers' comp, unemployment, any kind of disciplinary actions. We take that off of your plate, okay? So how do we navigate the continuing cost rise and pension and taxes? Obviously, contract employee, dual employees, shared savings plan, federal funding, and then obviously working with companies like ourselves. So to give you an idea, this is what your cost would be for that same exact employee. As I mentioned before, you're paying that employee $28,463 annually. After payroll taxes and healthcare, you're paying them $47,279. That same employee under ESS payroll, we're going to send you a bill for $36,974. So that's $10,305 per employee that you'd be saving. The great thing about this program is you can start out with 1, 2, 3, 4 employees and grow it over time. We're not asking you to say, hey, give us all your employees. Like I mentioned, if you want to start out small, we can do 4 or 5 employees. A lot of our districts that we just signed the last week are starting out with like 10 TAs and seeing how the program goes. And if they like it, they'll continue to add on. Iredell Statesville did the same thing. Now we do all of their teacher assistants. I wanted to show you this graph too, because over the years, you probably want to give pay increases to your employees, obviously. So this shows what would happen if you did give a pay increase, $15, $20, $25 pay increase a day. It shows their earning potential, right? You're still saving $3,000 to $6,000 per employee, even if 3 to 5 years down the road, we've increased their pay. So it's still a savings to the district. So what's the district benefits for you guys? You don't have to worry about continuing to increase, right, in your pension, your taxes. No longer have to worry about recruiting, onboarding, training, your payroll taxes, that all now comes on to us, okay? Any kind of liability, workers' comp, unemployment claims, we would be responsible for that. You all would not be responsible. So employee benefits, everybody asks, well, what's in it for the employee? Well, the good thing is we pay every single week. I think you all pay your TAs bi-weekly now? Or is it monthly? Monthly, okay. So through ESS, they get paid every Friday, okay? Opportunities to increase earnings. We also have a 401k matching retirement program that we would give to them. Healthcare plan, it's great healthcare. Background check reimbursements, incentive programs. I think that you guys currently pay for background checks, if I'm not mistaken. Now we would cover that cost. So that's above and beyond the $10,000. So I'm not sure what you guys currently pay. I don't know if we dove into that. But some districts pay hundreds of thousands of dollars annually for background checks. Now we would cover those costs for you as well. I think that was it, right? Did you all have any questions for me?
Thank you for being here. Questions from the board? Ms. Harvey?
What's the cost for you to do this?
That's it. So it's pay for what you use program.
Okay.
So it's a markup of the pay rate. I think it was like 29%. So just so that one slide that was on there earlier that showed the difference in cost. So if you'll scroll back up, keep going one more, right there. So that's what your cost would be. So you're paying your current employee $47,279 annually, right? You would pay $36,000 with us. That's your cost. That same employee
yes,
would
and
cost.
I understand
Yeah.
that cost and that savings, but you have to be getting something out of.
Let me just, so if you look at the difference between the 28 and 36, which is what, $8,000, that's the fee built in to pay them.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it the 20, I don't mean to hijack your question. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sandy. You're good.
So the 29% is based on that 28 or whatever that salary rate is?
Yes, ma'am. So if you take 28,000 and then do 29% on top of that, it comes out to 36. That's our fee.
Okay.
Yep, but you're still paying $10,300 less per employee because you're not covering the state health care and taxes and pension.
And it's a straight 29% per employee,
Yes, ma'am.
regardless of what their
Yes,
pay
ma'am.
rate is.
Yes, ma'am.
Tamika, were you, Ms. Harvey, were you Okay. Okay,
The-
sorry about that.
You said that we can do this with as few or as many.
Yeah.
With the districts you're working with, like how are they choosing to implement that? You said that some of them would do like for 4, 10 people.
Every district's different. So we just signed Kannapolis City Schools, Beaufort County Schools, Craven, what was the fourth one? And then Person's coming on as well. Craven's they're going a little bit more extreme. We've been working with Craven for years. They're doing 45 employees because they just have a deficit. A lot of times when school starts, you may think you've got all these TAs coming in first day. You may realize, oh my goodness, we've got 20, 30 vacancies. So we'll go ahead and fill those, okay? We're not gonna take your current TAs that have been working here for 10, 15 years. They're gonna stay with you guys because we don't wanna mess with their pension, okay? So that's up to you. So with Beaufort County and Kannapolis City, they're starting out with 10 employees. Just to try it out, to see how it works. And if everything goes great by hopefully the second semester of the year, they'll increase that number.
That 10 is usually like first incoming employees or?
It's usually new hires. New hires, yeah. Most districts will have 10, 15 vacancies to start the school, especially on the lower positions like teacher assistants. Another thing I wanted to add too, we actually had 2 districts this past year that have been using this program. And it's a great way for you all to, I call it the try before you buy. You can get a teacher assistant to come in and work for us. And if you really like them, what we've done for 2 districts, we've actually worked with some of our partners to get them certified as teachers. And then they would be a teacher for you all at no cost. So you would be using us to hire them at no cost to you.
Yes, Ms. Harvey.
When we look at the employee benefits and it says opportunities to increase earnings, what type of opportunities?
So like I'd mentioned on the I believe, was it up one or down? One of the
Down.
slides. Yes. So, sorry. Right there. Perfect. Right down. So we could do an increase in their pay if you guys say, hey, look, they've been here for so long, we'd like to increase their pay. That's why I put this up here because I wanted you to see this. You're still saving regardless of how much more money they make.
But that's the only opportunity is if there is an increase.
So we also look to the district. We'll work with your HR team and finance team, and we'll kind of mirror what's already the policies in place. So if you guys come back and say, hey, Robbie, we want to give our TAs a pay increase, we'll do whatever you guys tell us to do. We don't just go in and say, here's more money.
So it takes it out of the state of North Carolina's hands. If we want to pay our TAs more to recruit and bring them in, then we have the option to do that. It just cuts into the margin in which, money that the district saves.
Yep. Yeah, I just added that in there because it's worst case scenario, you're still saving almost, $3,500, even if we give the max bonus or sign-on bonus, or whatever we had to do to get them in the door.
And I do want to share too, if state of North Carolina, let's say they give a 5% raise, so our employees would get that. These employees would not automatically get it, but because we're getting that bump in state funding, we could potentially offer them the 5% raise as well. So.
And we have a classified supplement, and they would still be applicable to our classified supplement? Or they would not if they're ESS employees?
So if they're ESS employees, we couldn't use the classified supplement. What we could do is take what the classified supplement and put to their hourly rate.
So they would still be, we would still be able to give them that supplement? Okay.
Yep.
Yes, Mr. Rogers?
I know you said like in the assignment process or the recruiting process, somewhere in there, you said principals would still be involved and everything. So I'm guessing they would be involved on possibly hiring who they would want in their building or possibly a part of their school. Correct?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to do the heavy lifting, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure they're a good fit for your school.
All right. And so is it still going to be with the administrative team at the school or whoever that lead team is at the school that handles like evaluating these employees' performances and if there is any issues with their performances and any of that also?
Yeah, so we're going to handle any kind of training or retraining that's needed for employees and evaluations for employees. Now, obviously, we'll work with your principals and principal assistants to coordinate that with them, right? We've got a lot of districts that when we bring on these employees, they fall in love with them, they're great, they're hard workers, we would like to go ahead and bring them over as a school district employee, and we'll just transition them over there at no extra cost.
All right, that's all for right now, still thinking.
Dr. Parker?
I have a not very well-formed question at this point, and like I say, I'm probably going to be 15 minutes smarter later, but looking at something else that we have a contract for, so custodial services. Instead of having it in-house and having our employees, it is truly less expensive to use a company, and a lot of the frustrations that I hear about that is that there's a disintermediation between, if I need to do something, well, then the principal has to put in a ticket, or someone has to put in a ticket, and then it goes to a supervisor at the company, and then, it kind of feeds back down. And if there's not a quick feedback loop between, and I'm trying to phrase it, a quick feedback loop between, what's happening there. So they're not ABSS employees. So if there's a problem, if there's an HR issue, if there's, I don't know, like, for instance, the required reports, are those, how are those dealt with?
Yeah, and I know where Dr. Parker's going with this. I do think there's a little bit of a difference between custodial and this, but I think that's a fair concern. Is when they're no longer our employee, do they have the same buy-in for ABSS? Do they still have a, kind of that intrinsic, I want to, I'm a part of the team, and that's always been my concern, even on the custodial side, is are they really, excited about being an ABSS employee, except they're not one. So I do think that's a very fair question.
I actually brought my operations team. They deal with this on a daily basis. I go, if they have an operational question, I'm going to get back and wink at you.
I'm looking in distress, right? How you guys doing? My name is Jaquette Barnes. I'm the Vice President for Virginia and North Carolina for ESS. Thank you for having us tonight. So to answer that question in short, it's really up to the relationship piece of it, right? It's for us to have that camaraderie with our team as well as make them part of your buildings. So we rely on that relationship for you guys to bridge that gap with us. They feel a part of your school, they feel a part of our team, and we're one universal group. If something occurs in one of your buildings, we do have a process that you will follow to include your account manager, because you will have a dedicated account manager, to let them know that you've experienced a concern. And when that concern comes to us, then we'll work with you on how you want to address it. It could be something as simple as no call, no show for their assignment. It could be something egregious, as in maybe you did something inappropriate that requires us to get child protective services involved. So it could be from one extreme to the next. But at any rate, it's still a partnership. And so once we cultivate that relationship where we bring them in, you are going to have the full reign of them in your buildings. You tell us where and where they go. But when you have an issue, just communicate that to us so that we can address it in the moment.
I think the thing for ESS, a lot of districts use what they call temp. I call them tip agencies, right? You see the board docs all the time. There's contracts out the wazoo for approval. We are a partnership to our districts. You can reach out to any of our almost 30 district partners here in North Carolina, and they'll tell you the same thing. We will be locally managing your district. If you have a question, we'll be here on site to help you out. Obviously, if the program grows continues to grow, we would add more additional people. So I want to make sure that we reiterate that. You're not outsourcing. We're not bringing employees from outside of your county. Everything's going to be hired here locally. Yeah.
Like, we have a district in Virginia that has 30 perms that they interview them, they vet the resumes, and then they just send them to us and, hey, listen, this is who we need you to hire. And then we have some districts that say, listen, we want you to do everything.
Yep.
So it's pretty much district-led up to what your needs are. Each district, as Robbie stated earlier, is going to be different. And to address your question, Dr. Hall, earlier, you can have one as a pilot, you can have 5, or you can have 15. Again, it's just going to depend on what the district's needs are at that moment. And these are not contracted employees, so if you decide at any time that you need to terminate any particular one for whatever reason, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that was disciplinary, but if you no longer need the role, then you can do that as well.
Got it. And so I was just I think of working with, say, a consultant where we buy a certain number of hours of a service, and then you have a skilled employee come in and do that. And with something like this, I guess I'll kind of go back to the question as far as, so they're not really they're not employees of the district, and how does that work as far as, being bound for, I'll say like the required reporting things? Does that automatically flow to them in the same way that, otherwise, as far as, there are certain kinds of things where if you see something or,
You
whatever.
mean like mandatory reporting in the case of?
Yeah, like mandatory, yes, mandatory reporting.
Yes, they are obligated to those same metrics. I mean, if you see something, say something. If there is an evacuation situation or emergencies, yes, they have to follow the same school policies. We take them through all the same training, and if you have any additional trainings that you want them to have, then you could do that as well.
Yeah.
In Virginia and in North Carolina, we are actually the only ESS regions that have MENT certified trainers, which help with some of the EC programs and special education courses.
Yeah, so just to follow up on that one more step. So if there are employees, we do the investigation and we control all the notes and that kind of thing. And if they're not our employees, which would be the case here, I feel like that there's a potential that things could drop if, let's say, our HR isn't, fully involved in doing all the interviews, kind of thing. So I guess I can more fully form that later, but that's a concern as far as having control of the process.
Yeah,
It is
so,
different than janitorial.
and I can add to that. So again, that goes to us being a partner. That's a difference between a temp service, where where a temp service will send you a body and they'll send you a bill for that body, right? What's going to happen is once the contract is approved with the board, we'll come in, we'll do what's called a transition period. Right? We'll sit down with your human resource team, your finance department. We'll find out what rules, regulations, certifications, whatever is required to be a teacher assistant at your district. Because like I said, every district's different. We mirror the process. Nothing is going to change as far as qualifications, certifications required to work here at this district. It's all going to be the same. Pay is going to be the same. The only difference is they're going to get an ESS paycheck instead of a paycheck from you guys. That's the only difference, which is where the savings comes from.
So Dr. Parker, is your concern their educational credentials not being met? Is there anything specific like that I could address?
Well, it's a little bit less. I imagine that you could hire a T as far as credentials, but I'm trying to think of kind of the worst case where if there were a situation, and I feel like we have an obligation to the students and families to make sure that we do it as quickly as possible.
Disciplinary?
Yeah, disciplinary, something like that, or there's a concern about a teacher, and that's a little bit of a different, animal if it's an employee of a different company. I mean, simply there are HR rules, and unless you legally write in that we have the same authority as your HR, which I can't imagine that you do,
Well,
then
to some degree you do, right? Because these are your buildings, right? And so we need to make sure that we're obviously doing everything that we can to make sure that we're putting people in your classrooms that are safe and obviously following your policies and your protocols.
Yeah.
So we do have an incident team that functions as our HR team over our permanent professionals. And so let's say, for example, you had a report of an incident of someone putting their hands on a child, right? That's an example. And there's an investigation that needs to occur. So if it was in your classroom, you would simply create this incident report. That would then go to our HR incident team. They would reach out to the substitute, reach out to all the parties involved, and conduct that investigation. But you are not exempt from that process. You're still included. And they would make a determination based on what HR policies are, because we all have to follow those, right? But if for some reason you don't necessarily agree with that particular result, you still can let us know what you would like to see occur, and we can look at how we can address that for you to meet that need. So I guess in a sense, it's not always left up to us, right? It still is left up to you. We don't take that from you.
got it. Yes. So it's you agree to be nice about things if we have a problem, but it's still that's where you get into a contract dispute. But let's leave that aside. Just as far as the employees, so their salary is the same, but a lot of things like pensions, or I guess it's a 401k, it's a little bit different, but healthcare is really like a cost plus risk pool, and there's not a tremendous amount of savings among those. So is it just like the magic of paying employees less, or kind of what is the difference as far as the benefits cost between the state healthcare, and then I understand liability for workman's comp and what's provided through your service.
Yeah, so your obviously your state benefits are going to be cheaper, right? I mean, that's a lot of the savings too. But we have found, again, this is through attrition, right? Keep that in mind. A lot of teachers and assistants don't just come on board because they want benefits, right? They want to come in, they're trying to make money, they're trying to further their careers in order to become a teacher down the road. And that's one thing we will help them do, is become a certified teacher. So yes, our benefits, we did a cost comparison with Moore County Schools because they're also taking us to the board for this as well. I think it was like, and we were going to do a pay increase because they wanted their benefits to be the exact same cost as our benefits. Obviously, our benefits are more because we're a private company. We're a large company. We're in 38 states across the United States, but still, it's not going to compete with your state benefits. The coverages are going to be the same. It's going to be a little bit more of a cost to the employee. Yeah, we can counteract that if we need to, if that's the thing, with a pay increase to counteract that.
But some of the data that we have been able to look at over the years in both states shows that a lot of the employees who make salaries that are under $40,000 have their benefits supplemented through other programs, whether it be a state-funded program, whether they're part of a household that maybe has military benefits. Even being an employee of ESS myself, I'm married to the military, so it's not something that I necessarily need. So we find that a lot of our employees that are supplementing their income aren't falling under those other umbrellas.
You know, I appreciate the discussion about no recruiting or onboarding expenses. For me, a lot of the onboarding is not just the HR paperwork, but bringing them up to speed. And so that essentially would remain the same as far as between the programs.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to mirror your current training processes are in place. We're actually going to add an additional training process. We have 5-hour in-person training for all our new hires. It's mandatory. A lot of districts do not do that. We do that above and beyond your current training program because, again, like you just said, we want to make sure the ESS name stays great in the state of North Carolina. So if they're not a great employee, it's not look bad on us, okay? So we really want to make sure we hold their hand to the process and make sure they're a good fit for your organization, your district.
In addition, they will get that certified MENT training, which is good for a year, and they can get recertified each year as long as they're with ESS on top of the professional development that we offer them at least twice throughout the year.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think that's all my questions.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Dr. Hall, and then we'll go back to Mr. Rogers.
That's fine. No, go ahead. You sure? So I know you touched on this, but I wanted to get you a little bit more conversation around it. So in that recruiting piece, for me, it's big on recruiting locally and hear folks who, because like what Dr. Parker was saying, if a part of it is two people buying into the culture of the school that they're going to be a part of, and then if, I mean, I've just seen once they get that buy-in and they love their school and they want to stay there, or they're more adapt to how they work in their spaces and everything. But then also in Alamance County, people want to work locally or those things too. So can you just explain what it would look like on your all's recruiting piece on recruiting locally here in Alamance County?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can do that, or you want to do it, it's up to you.
Kayla come up and do that. So Kayla is our senior regional manager for North Carolina, and she can tell you firsthand about what that looks like.
I mean, we got all three of y'all here. We might as well get on.
Might as
make it a
well.
party, right?
We didn't drive over here for nothing, you know. Tony said he was going to answer all the questions, but look at him, he's over there.
Yeah, so recruiting in North Carolina looks similar to ESS as a whole. We get really involved with your local community groups, right? So school pickup lines, we get in front of PTO groups, we work with the Chamber of Commerce, anything that we can get grassroots. Your account manager that would be designated for you guys would get involved heavily in the community because that ends up being our best hires.
We spend a lot of money on marketing too, so you can call any of our districts. You'll see us at all the football games. We got the foam footballs. It'll say work with ESS on one side, and it'll have your high school logo on one side, and they'll throw them up in the crowds. We do a lot of stuff locally with in Chamber of Commerce, churches, everything to make sure that we're recruiting. You'll see us all out in the field. We typically will have an on-site person, but they're not going to be sitting locally at this office. They're going to be out speaking with the principals and making sure they're taken care of and they're happy and their classrooms are filled, and they'll be doing recruiting efforts throughout the week as well.
Okay, and so then that local person, you're saying they would locally be in Alamance County or close to Alamance County also?
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes,
I think that's also another, I guess, concern and headache, it seems like, with the custodial services is the people that are there in the building, but then once you talk to, I guess, the folks that are higher
They're
up
not here.
than them, then, yeah, some of them are not
Who do
here.
you all use? Who do you all use for custodials?
Well, I don't want to get deep into that.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know. I'm like,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'll stay off that because that's going to be a different discussion, a different day. But yeah, I was just wanting more of that local feeling to like what Dr. Parker was saying, some of the local concerns that we have heard from that piece, but also we know a lot of the things too is around various costs and things too, but you want to make sure whatever you're doing, you're not just doing it just because of the cost savings. You want to do what makes sense. And then another piece is, I know we done talked a lot in this about the TAs, but we have multiple positions that are classified employees. So y'all do things with multiple classified employee positions, or is it more around the TAs?
I can chime in on that a little bit.
Okay.
So I did some numbers on that as well before I came here. Roughly 35% of our, what I call other classified employees, not transportation or not school nutrition, but 35% of all those, such as office help and those things like that, have 5 or less years of experience as well. So the state benefits that we have in place now is not keeping people here. And like I said, the state of North Carolina, whenever they separate from service from us, the employee, the state of North Carolina just keeps the retirement benefits from that, so which helps the retirement system, but it doesn't really help us. And those costs are only going to exponentially go up. Like I said, we were told at our finance meeting this past summer that to expect insurance to go up to $10,000 in the next 5 years per employee. And right now, we're already paying 26% of an employee's salary to the retirement system that we won't benefit from. An employee, unless they actually retire with the state of North Carolina, will not benefit either.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Messner. I don't have anything else right now. Thank y'all.
Thank you, appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Mr. Rogers. Dr. Hall?
Just a couple times you mentioned that you help these employees who are TAs become teachers, certified teachers. Can you talk a little bit about what that process is, or what kind of things you put in place to help them out?
Yeah, so I mean, we actually work with
I teach.
is a partner of ours, and they will put them through the process to get them certified, and we'll work alongside them to make sure that they're taken care of through the process as well.
And that also comes with a discount for that program. What's the discount in North Carolina?
I'd have to go back and get me on the spot.
Yes,
I
sorry
will
about
say
that.
we had two just this week over the last, 15 days that have become certified teachers through the program.
I do believe it is though it's significant savings. I don't want to misquote it because I was working with someone in the Virginia region on it, and theirs was about $250 to $500, and so I think it's somewhere along those lines. So it's still a significant savings for them, especially given the total price of the package.
Dr. Parker?
So one more question. This is maybe more for Dr. Anderson or something. So I wasn't sure as far as this program, what we're targeting. Are we where TA vacancies are and that kind of thing, as far as some of the major categories where this program would be helpful? And it may not be for right now because I'm surprising you with the question, but if it's at your fingertips, then.
So currently, most of our TA vacancies are at the elementary level. And so we have right now, I can pull that up for you. I can get into my computer. So currently at the elementary level, we are showing 7. Now remember, these numbers change. And that's for our general education. We also have currently 3 that are EC general TAs. And then at the middle school level and high school level, we are not showing any current vacancies. So I would say, Dr. Parker, actually for high school, I'm seeing 8 EC adapted. So I do believe that ESS, of course, with further discussion from the board, it would certainly help with the current number of vacancies that we have. Because again, I do see a higher number at our elementary level. Yes.
Got it. And, go ahead.
I was going to say also to backpedal just a second about how we can assist you with your teachers that are looking to get into that field. We also have some of the programs from Grand Canyon University and other universities come out to the training sessions to speak with them about how to get them further along in that process.
Is perhaps providing ECTAs something that your program provides, or is that a little bit outside the scope?
Oh, no, absolutely. We do ECTAs at almost every one of our districts. Actually, Pender County Schools, we've been with them now 2 years on the sub-program. They just signed an addendum to add this program this coming school year. We are helping them with their teacher assistants, but they drive buses. So we're going to help them with their bus driver issues. So we're going to recruit the TA that they have to get their CDL license, and we're going to help them get the CDL license to help drive buses as well. So that helps with I don't know if you guys have problems with that here, but
Everyone has, it's a universal issue.
Chatham
So,
County also follows that same model.
yeah.
great, yep. That's really the last question this time.
You got us here.
Question. So when you help them with the extra things, like, you know, say becoming, you know, you're hiring the TA, but then also training them to become the bus driver and get their CDL, or when you're taking the TA and they're getting their certification to become a teacher, is there any extra? Like any extra pay, or is it still just
You're
that?
talking about a bill, extra bill?
Right. Like,
No,
is
ma'am.
it just still just that,
No, ma'am.
that percentage?
No, ma'am. It's just a markup of their hourly rate. So whatever hour they work, if they work 8 hours a day, you would get billed for the 8 hours they work. That's it.
The service for professional development, there is no fee beyond the 29%.
Yep.
Now, for those who want to get MANT certified, there is a $10 fee, but that is not through ESS. It's because MANT charges that fee. So we then tell them if you want the actual certification, you do have to pay that. But we do recognize the importance of adding value to our substitute teams, whether they're perms or substitutes in the classroom. And so for those things, we do not try to tack on additional fees as we give them professional development or training for certifications one way or the other. We also do a lot of things for appreciation of the employees, and those are not at any additional fee either.
Any other questions from the board? All right. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you all
being
very
with
much. I
us.
appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks.
Mr. Mess or Dr. Fleming, did y'all want to add anything to that before we move on?
I'll just share one thing. I appreciate them coming in to chat with us. And I think as I've listened to a little bit of what they've shared, if we do something like this, I do believe we need to start small, start with new employees so that no one has to make a decision, you know, if they switch or not between employers, but get those that have not been in the state system before, start them out. You know, you can start out a handful or a dozen or whatever it may be based on need. I think that's the safest bet, just so we're all getting used to that, or getting used to having those employees contracted.
I just appear in case there's any additional questions.
Anything else for
me.
Mr. Messer? Thank you. Thank you for being with us as well. All right, I will invite Dr. Sean McWhorter, our Assistant Superintendent of Academics. Yes, academics.
He thought he was getting a job change.
So as they're pulling that up, Madam Chair, Dr. Fleming, members of the board, we would like to take hopefully just a couple minutes of your time and review some of the recommended changes that we would like to make to our academically gifted plan. And Angie, I'll let you take
Alrighty.
over.
So, Angie Reed, K-12 Advanced Learners, just providing some updates. While it's unusual for us to revisit our plan before the 3-year cycle is up, after reviewing the wording of our identification criteria, I realized it might cause a little confusion, and we want to make sure that everyone understands, especially our parents, what we are, our identification requirements. So we also wanted to update elementary identification criteria to include earning a level 5 on the reading and math EOGs, which is already in place for our middle and high school students. Since the state revised their definition years ago, that giftedness is to include students who perform or show the potential to perform at substantially high levels of accomplishment when compared with others of their age, experiences, or environment. Utilizing the level 5 allows us to identify students who are mastering their grade level content in reading and math at a higher rate above their peers. With the rising outside testing costs, it makes sense for us to utilize the EOGs and EOCs as an achievement indicator since it is a state-provided assessment. This will also reduce time taken for additional testing. We will continue to utilize the Iowa Achievement and Cognitive Abilities Test in cases where there's limited data
provided for our school. So the AOG committees can make a decision. So this would be like for referrals, for transfers, for students who, for whatever reason, don't have that data. We will also continue to give the Naglieri as our universal screening tool in the spring of second grade to help create our talent pools. Utilizing the level 5 as achievement criteria will also allow our elementary schools to be in compliance with Senate Bill 500, known as the advanced math legislation, where we need to provide advanced learning opportunities for students who score at the highest level of the EOGs, which is a level 5. And these students will automatically be identified for needing differentiated instruction in the classroom, as well as possible resource time with the AIG teachers. Okay. So here is our basic criteria. For highly gifted, no changes. Really, it's just clarifying the wording for reading and math. It's together. When I wrote them, I thought I'm condensing it, but I realized that it might be unclear what the measurements needed for specific reading and math. And we also add the using the EOG. For AIG pathway, again, we're just clarifying the criteria, and then also inputting that just level 5 to 90%, sorry, for AIG, because they can use the Iowa and or the CIGAT as a buffer there. All right. And then here our AG pathway, which is just academic services. And so this is where we would have the Iowa at 90 or 90%, 99% or above, and then a level 5 on the EOG. So that's kind of separating those two. You no longer need an extra data point if you have that level 5. And then AG pathway 2, no changes, just clarifying. And then pathway 3 is the portfolio pathway, so there's no changes for there. IG pathway, we are updating just a little bit. We're taking off that verbal quantitative partial composite and just using the whole composite because that provides a higher statistical reliability for gifted potential, because you're looking for students who may not have that academic basis yet, but they do have that critical thinking, and that we need to kind of look at that whole picture. Okay. And then there's really no change, just adding specific opportunities for retesting. Okay. And then if there's any questions or concerns regarding the proposed changes, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Questions? Yes, Dr. Parker.
So the a level 5 on an EOG is approximately the 90th percentile. Is that the?
It ranges, and it varies per grade level, and it differs for tests. So for some, a 95 and above is a level 5. A 90 for some is a level 5. So it just depends on the norming. And that's why we said the level 5, because that just shows us that they're performing at the top, regardless of the percentile. But we are still looking at the 90% and above if they have a CIGAT to go with it for the AIG piece, if that makes sense.
So to re-say that again, it could be not somewhere between 90 something to 95?
Yeah.
Or
it could be 90 to 99. Okay. It really just varies with the norming process
as
for
far
each.
as the lower. Okay.
And that's why we have to say just level 5. We didn't want to use a number, because sometimes a 90 is a level 4. And so that's, while it's still a high percentile, it's not at the highest. So when you're using that just one data point, we wanted to have the highest. But we're still utilizing the 90 and above if we have another data point.
What is this is a word I've only read, the Naglieri?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my understanding is the older version of it was very poorly G-loaded, a little bit more.
Nonverbal.
Yeah.
It was basically just a nonverbal test. The general abilities test now has verbal, quantitative, and nonverbal. It's similar to the CIGAT. The difference is all the questions are either pictorial or graphs, or there's no reading. So our Hispanic speaking students or students who don't speak, aren't native to English speaking, it's a non-biased assessment.
Got it. Yeah, so my history is that COGAT is the most G-loaded if you use the full composite,
Right.
you know, the components. So I guess what's the role of the Iowa test if we have other better tests as far as you know, detecting people? If you separate, you know, ability to learn versus opportunity to learn, and Iowa's a little bit more opportunity to learn.
Right. So Naglieri and COGAT, they both are ability tests. And so that gives us our like intellectual ability. Iowa gives us our achievement data. And so this is why we're trying to replace it with EOGs.
Okay, so you're replacing, just to reiterate, I'm just trying to understand because I tried to read the slides in detail and didn't perhaps succeed as much as I wanted. So you use a composite, I can't even say Naglieri or COGAT. How does it work when a student is identified, say, in reading but not math? I know they tend to come along and they're positively correlated, but you know, what about that case as far as the?
So we have different kind of layers, basically. So AIG, you've got both an achievement and an ability. For our AG, it's just the achievement. And then our IG kids are just ability. And those are our students who not necessarily have that achievement piece yet.
Got it. And then like the alternative pathway where it's a certain percentile and then there's a portfolio or something. Could you just say a little bit more about that and how often it's used, just a little bit of detail as far as the districts?
We don't use it a lot, but we do utilize that with students who have struggle with testing anxiety. And I'm sorry, losing my voice.
You can have a bottle of water if you like for the. So, okay, I got it. So that's for students as far as struggle with testing. The okay, got it. I think that's it for right now. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Mr. Rogers?
So you might not know this right offhand, but and it might be something you have to get back to us with. But with this proposed change, how many students would this impact? Like, how many students would possibly be newly qualified?
So I do know this because I've just been looking at spreadsheets for the past week. There are about 130 elementary school students, so 4th and 5th graders.
Okay.
That will add.
You said there'll be 130 that would be identified under this, and then is there
Additional.
Okay, so
So
there would
this
not.
summer, like, we looked at the EOG scores and it's level 5, so we have an additional 130.
Okay, so then that means it's just a gain and it's not any net loss in that? Okay. And then also with the change too, and I guess this is piggybacking off of Dr. Parker, with the EOG testing, and I know you spoke about the student testing anxiety. And how y'all would approach that with this change? Because, you know, some students are very academically gifted and gifted right there in the classroom doing the work, all of those very things, but then sometimes the test can be their issue. And
Right, that's why we use the portfolio for, when you do like performance tasks, observations, things like that.
okay. All right, that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Any other questions from the board? Dr. Parker?
Yeah. So I guess something that has plagued a lot of programs is having enough AIG teachers. So I understand that there's going to be a state law change, and we have to take that into account. Do you have a kind of a first pass? You know, what's going to happen if we all of a sudden have an extra 134 students, as far as providing enough teachers to provide the enrichment activities for those students?
Well, the main thing is that we need to differentiate in the classroom every day. So part of the things that we're doing are trying to give supplemental work for teachers to give during the classroom, not even extra, but just different. So really proposing that differentiation. The AIG resource, luckily we have a full-time at every school except for 4. So we have 2 split positions, which I would love to have a full-time at every school, obviously, but right now we do have some lower populations in some of our schools, and so currently we're good. I mean, we're even with bumping those up. I will say, not Hallfields, Garrett, of course, it's been one of the larger elementary schools, and they do have a large population of AIG students. I could say she could probably use some help, but we're hoping that some of the differentiation in the with the Dragonfly, the new curriculum, and given some
additional resources for teachers to differentiate in the classroom, that it'll kind of pull away from that time she has to spend with pull out and resource, because push in and co-teaching can happen.
So, and I don't know the answer to this, and so I'll ask the kind of maybe poorly formed question. Are there specific rules for the kind of differentiated education or the amount of, pull-out time or something like that? Or is it something that we can, I hate to say roll our own and say, yes, this is what we're doing, and we won't run afoul of the statute?
Right. No, every LEA has, or PSU, sorry, every school district can choose their own how they want to serve the students. Currently, our service plan, we have tiers. So our tier 1 students, who are all of our AIG students, differentiation in the classroom is the main service. Tier 2 is our pull out or resource with the AIG teacher. And then accelerated would be tier 3, which would be those students who are whole grade skipping or course skipping.
Okay, got it. Yep. I will say that all 3 of mine had Jennifer Tripp, and she's fantastic. And one of the things that's really great about the pullout is a lot of times those students may not fit as well into other classes, and it's their AIG teacher where they really feel like they have a connection. And it would be unfortunate, even if it's necessary, if we have to dramatically increase the pool and the students who could have had breakout or not. And so I know you'll manage that as closely as possible. I just wanted to say that.
Yes, well, we tried to incorporate those tiers so that we can look at how they're doing in the classroom. If they need extra support in the classroom, then they don't necessarily need that resource. But if they are, advanced, obviously need something different, we do want to give that extra.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Ms. Harvey?
You said 4 schools, they don't have an AIG.
No, they don't have a full-time, they are split.
Right.
So we have 4 that are split. They're 2.5 or 2 and 3.
Do you know offhand what 4 schools that is?
Yes. So East Lawn and Grove Park share a teacher, and Newland and North Graham. So North Graham has 2 days a week this year, and Newland will be three days. Just to an increase in population. And then Grove Park and East Lawn are 2.5. So she alternates 2 1 week and 3.
Do you offhand know, so for the 4 schools that is split, do you know the numbers of the AIG students at those schools?
Under 10, definitely, for East Lawn and Grove Park. Newland has a little bit more. They have grown because they have gotten a lot of kids from North Graham transferred to Newland, and so there's been some, with the redistricting, we've gotten some changes, but for the most part, Newland, East Lawn, North Graham, East Lawn, and Grove Park are under 10 identified students.
And that's even with the newer number of students?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any other questions from board members? All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
These changes do need board approval.
We have them for information tonight. Do you want
Okay, is it just,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Is it a
What-
time-sensitive thing?
No?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. We will invite Dr. Christy Davis, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, to the podium for our next 5 agenda items.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Fleming. My first 3 items are all contracts that are voting items because they are time sensitive. The first one is stepping stones, and these are all for EC related services. The first one would be for 2 SLPAs for stepping stones at $200,000 using federal funds. And if you'll click on the other attachment, that shows the actual contract. Any questions about stepping stones?
And this is for 3 positions?
2 SLPAs.
2
And-
SLPAs,
And
okay.
remember, this is actually our first time hiring SLPAs. So SLPAs, that's an assistant who can provide services. They cannot do evaluations, and they have to work under an SLP. So they can help with the workload. So we have to strategically place them where schools have full-time SLPs currently to work with them to provide services.
Any other questions from board members?
No, just a comment. I think the SLPA is a great pilot, and hopefully they will get a good report next year whenever we see this again.
I
So.
agree.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Mr. Rogers?
Well, it was going to be similar to Dr. Parker. I guess he was quicker on the buzzer, like Family Feud. But anyway, so with the SLPAs, so that's the only thing that we're using stepping stones for?
Correct.
Okay, because I know in here it's 3 different things. It's them, it's the speech inspirations, and then Blazer Works. I know it's 3 different things, so that's why I was just wanting to understand the differentiation between the 3. So
Yes.
this one is just the SLPAs,
Yes.
period.
And ultimately, we kind of, with what they can get us, that's what we target. And so with stepping stones, they were only able to provide us the SLPAs. Our
Okay.
next one, I'll explain which ones, there's more under that one.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Anything else from the board?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Davis.
Next, I have a contract for speech inspiration. That's for $1,410,000. Right now, that is going to be for a combination of full-time SLPs, face-to-face and virtual, SLPAs, and then 8 instructional assistants. So the instructional assistants will be paired with the virtual SLPs. Our goal with this $1,410,000 is to get 10 SLPs. That'd be a combination of face-to-face and virtual, and then 8 IAs to go with the virtual positions. Currently, they're only able to give us 6 full-time SLPs and 4 speech IAs. But of course, we're working towards that 10. And that's going to be state funds.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Davis on that particular contract? Yes, Mr. Rogers.
Dr. Davis, with this, because we know we have our students that have their IEPs or 504 plans and everything, and a lot of times with the SLPs is a part of those services. So can you just give an idea or explanation around having like these contracts and these folks, what will be like that caseload look like, or how will they help in that caseload with those IEP students?
Ultimately, all of these contracts, that the people that we're going to be employing, they're going to carry caseloads, so they'll be able to all have a caseload. The only ones that cannot carry like a full caseload in terms of evaluation would be the SLPAs.
Okay.
And we will, with all the contracts that I'm presenting to you tonight, in addition to other contracts that haven't been brought to the board because they're under the threshold, we're still going to need 6.5 SLPs, but that's a dramatic improvement from years past.
And I guess just another question, because I know, when was it? It was a while back that you and Dr. Armfield was talking about the SLP, basically strategic plan.
Yes.
And how is this aligning up with that strategic plan that I know was a real push around retention, recruitment, different things like that? I know in our previous budget request, we were talking about the SLPs in there, and even had like line items that would have been addressing stuff with EC services. So how is, I guess, with these various contracts, how's that touching that strategic plan?
So we're definitely chipping away at the hiring piece. We're actually going to present a progress report, kind of like a little pulse check on that SLP plan that we have. Our plan was to present it in October once we kind of got through hiring season, so you can have a clearer picture. But right now, these are just helping with the vacancies.
All right, thank you, Dr. Davis.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Dr. Davis, are these pay rates comparable with the SLPs that we currently have employed?
Yes, but of course, the contracts are more. So
Okay.
of course, our goal
But
is
the
still
pay
to hire.
rates are still?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Davis.
And our last, this is one you've seen before, Blazer Works. This is $600,000. Right now, this is going to include an SLP, an RBT, which is a regional behavior technician, which is always kind of included in this one, as well as IAs to pair with any virtual SLPs that we have. We may have to eventually increase this one depending on if they're able to get us more, because historically they have been able to get us more SLPs, but currently they haven't been. So we kind of left that one a little bit lower than speech inspirations.
Questions from board members?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you both. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Davis.
And before I move on from the contracts, I do want to report out that we have been able to hire one full-time SLP from a charter school, so that's great. We had one that's currently a half-time employee move to full-time, so that's also progress. And we're currently working on hiring a second full-time employee.
I mean, it's like the way you eat an elephant. It's one bite at a time. So I'm glad that there's some progress.
Yes.
Absolutely. Dr. Hall?
And maybe this is for Tony also, but just looking at these 3 contracts, right? So each one of these is funded from a different source. Can we talk just a little bit about that, or why the importance of that, or how that works?
Oh. No, I'll let you go ahead. Because ultimately I deferred to him when I was like, where will the funds come from?
So typically our strategy when paying these contracts is to spend state funds first or federal funds first before we spend local. But there's quite a bit of Medicaid money that's in reserve that they had that they tap into whenever these contracts do exceed normal. They use normal loosely, but whenever the need arises to serve our students. And that's money specifically for GCA's contracts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hall. All right,
Okay.
you're up again.
Yes, grants. Correct, yes. So I have 5 grants. Brandy Jo Brim from Elon Elementary received $8,150 for Teacher Leadership Academy Creativity Grant from Impact Elements for the Mobilizing Food for Thought project to implement a mobile kitchen program that provides hands-on learning experiences and promotes student engagement across subject areas. Next, Lacey Kowalski from EM Yoder Elementary School received $10,705 from the Teacher Leadership Academy Creativity Grant from Impact Elements for the Igniting Inquiry Bringing Hands-On Science to Every Student project to establish a science resource hub with hands-on instructional materials for all grade levels. Rachel Fowler from Highland Elementary School received a Teacher Leadership Academy Creativity Grant for Impact Elements in the amount of $19,000 for the Inclusive Playground Initiative to enhance outdoor spaces with inclusive sensory equipment, accessible pathways, and a basketball court. Ashley West from Hillcrest Elementary School received $10,000 from the Teacher Leadership Academy Creativity Grant from Impact Elements for the Hornet Hive Initiative. This is to increase student engagement, leadership, and family involvement through interactive displays, student-led media, family events, and school beautification efforts. And last, April Ferguson from Southern Middle School received $20,000 from Teacher Leadership Academy Creativity Grant from Impact Elements for transforming our library to increase literacy and engagement to update the library with new furniture and high-interest books that support literacy and student engagement. Total of $67,855.
Thank you, Dr. Davis, and shout out to Impact Elements and for their generosity through our Teacher Leadership Academy. Excited to see these projects come to life.
Absolutely.
Any other comments or anything from the board? We will move on to gifts.
Have 11 gifts. Highland Elementary School's PTA donated $1,647.60 to the school from proceeds generated through the sale of Field Day T-shirts during the school year. Funds will be used to purchase new PE equipment for student use. Next, the Mebane Business Association donated $1,000 to Southeast Alamance High School. Funds will be used to pay outstanding student lunch balances. Sylvan Elementary School received a donation of $9,615.70 from the Hammer Trust Fund Board. Funds will be used to upgrade the media center and purchase new furniture. The Mebane Business Association donated $1,000 to EM Yoder Elementary School. Funds will be used to purchase instructional supplies. Turntime Middle School received donations totaling $3,350 from 13 donors to support the purchase of new uniforms and banners for the boys soccer team. Hill Barber Realty of Alamance County coordinated community support efforts for this initiative. Pleasant Grove Elementary School received a donation of $1,000 from the Mebane Business Association. Funds will be used to purchase classroom instructional resources. Hawfields Middle School received a donation of $1,000 from the Mebane Business Association. Funds will be used to purchase classroom instructional resources. Woodlawn Middle School received an anonymous donation of $6,000. Funds will be used to purchase new football uniforms and safety equipment. Garrett Elementary School received a donation of $1,000 from the Mebane Business Association as part of its annual support of local schools. Funds will be used to enhance teaching and learning through the purchase of instructional materials, including software subscriptions and classroom supplies. Mebane Business Association donated $1,000 to Woodlawn Middle School. Funds will be used to support teacher-led clubs designed to strengthen school culture through Capturing Kids' Hearts framework and fostering positive relationships among students and staff. And lastly, Sylvan Elementary School has received a donation of $23,059.60 from the Hammer Trust Fund Board. Funds will be used to upgrade the furniture in the cafeteria. Total of $49,672.90.
Thank you, Dr. Davis, and thank you to the generosity of many of those in the community for giving to lots of schools that are going to benefit from that. Board members, this one is up for a vote this evening. If there's a motion from the board.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Davis. At this time, I'll invite Deputy Superintendent of Operations, Mr. Greg Hook, to the podium for several agenda items.
Madam Chair, Dr. Fleming, members of the board, I have 5 voting items for you tonight. The first item is the group of 6 SRO contracts. I have the value of each contract listed on your board materials.
All right. Questions or comments for Mr. Hook?
Mr. Hook, does this just still continue with that we'll have SROs in all of our schools?
Yes,
Okay.
this covers SROs in all schools.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. I'll make the motion to approve.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
The second item I have for you is the SRO MOU for 26-27. We have 2 new chiefs, so we wanted to put the SRO MOU in front of all of the chiefs and the sheriff for agreement again.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
The next item I have is a contract for Western Alamance High School and Southern Alamance High School, 2 separate contracts for replacement of security cameras and addition of keyless entry systems to both of those schools. The contracts are both with KNC. The value of the Southern Alamance High School contract is $325,388.28. Western Alamance High School, the value of that contract is $325,291.15. And the source of the funds is bond funds.
Thank you, Mr. Hook. Any questions?
So these are upgrades of current systems, or is it new keyless?
Yes, over the
upgrades?
years, I started out by saying these schools had 10-year-old camera systems. I'm going to say they have 13-year-old camera systems. Many of the cameras were taken down when they demolished and replaced the covered walkways, the canopy systems, and did the additions to those 2 schools that did not include camera systems.
But it still uses the same basic infrastructure as far as like the Ethernet cable and that kind of thing that they've run?
Much of it can be reused, but what we do include is replacement of the servers, lots of additional things, and so it's nearer to a full replacement than it is reusing existing equipment.
Got it. And I didn't read the contracts in a great deal of detail, except looking at the numbers. This is anticipated as far as when they get to work. When do they think this will be done? 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months?
I would anticipate a couple of months.
Okay.
They're large campuses.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Hook, just a general thing. Where would this put us as far as with our high schools, middle schools, secondary schools, as far as our security cameras or keyless entries, where those are needed?
Currently, we have 5 elementary schools that do not have cameras. We have bond funding in place for those.
Mm-hmm.
We also have submitted a COPS grant for those 5 elementary schools. If we were fortunate enough to receive that grant, then that would allow us to go to the county and reallocate the bond money that they have pushed over to those projects. Those will be awarded around November 1st, so we're kind of waiting that out. We also have bond funds in place to replace 13-year-old camera systems at Williams High School. And then we're also in the process of adding keyless door access to Graham Middle and Turrentine Middle. They have a different kind of camera, but they're still fine. We replaced the servers last year. So in answer to your question, we have 5 without, and then 1 that's going to be replaced, Williams, and then a couple of upgrades with door systems.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Yes, Dr. Fleming.
I just wanted to share, we want to be very careful in asking specifics on school security because that is something that's not public information.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sounds good. Thank you, Dr. Parker. Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
The 4th item I have is a design contract for the partial roof replacement at Alexander Wilson Elementary School. This project is aligned with the roof study, the roof capital improvement plan that was conducted by the Board of Commissioners a couple of years ago. This contract is with REI Engineers for the value of $140,675. Source of funds is capital improvement plan funds.
Any questions from the board?
So I'm going to ask the obvious question every time, which is, so we approve this, and then do you have to go back to the commissioners to get approval to let them start planning? Or, okay, great. And so they'll start planning and then come back in some amount of time, and at that point, we'll have a number for the roof, and then...
That's right. We have a budget number. We presented the budget number that included the design and the roof replacement. That was part of the capital improvement plans that we submitted to the county. And it was near about fully funded. I feel like the way things are going, the bids should come in line with the funds they provided.
Okay, great. Yeah, so this just kind of accelerates it, so they don't have to do the design later. As far as we've been doing the planning for the roofs, so that then it's ready, and we don't have to go back for a final adjustment of the number. I guess that was my question. So they'll give you a final number for the roof. And that number should, instead of having the commissioners approve a number up front, including planning, I think I've confused myself. So let me just press eject on this question, and we'll pretend like I didn't say anything.
I can't clarify. The commissioners provided a bucket of money
Yes.
that included design and the roof replacement, and we have that bucket in place.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
All right, my last item is a renewal of a lease contract with Randolph Community Services for the lease of property for the Head Start program at the Sellers Gun Educational Center. The lease is for the use of property behind the Sellers Gun building, where Head Start has a large mobile unit playground equipment, and a parking lot. This renewal is for 1 year, and it's written that we can continue for a few years doing 1-year renewals for $1 a year.
Thank you, Mr. Hook. Any questions? Anything further from the board?
Motion to approve?
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Hook.
Thank you.
At this time, I will invite Dr. Yolanda Anderson, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, to the podium for our first policy update.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Fleming. I am presenting tonight revisions to the district's Title IX grievance policies and procedures, Policy 1726-4026-7237 for your consideration. This policy is being presented for first reading to complete some action items under a resolution agreement that ABSS entered with the Office of Civil Rights, and it involves just a few revisions. So before you, there is some red text in the first page of this policy, and to just really summarize it for you, for the revised policy in Section A, where you see definitions here, the major change is to ensure that our wording regarding supportive measures is clear and that it clarifies what supportive measures mean. Currently in our policy, under Section A, it basically has definitions, and then it gives you the definitions of what an investigator is, a decision maker, an investigative report, the remedies and disciplinary sanctions. But per our agreement with the OCR, we have to ensure that it's clear to complainants and respondents that the word supportive measures means the same throughout the policy. There was just some language that was just not clear. So in order for us to be in compliance, I am asking just to have the section in red for your consideration for first read. The rest of the policy, there are no changes. It's just the part that is in red.
Thank you, Thank you, Dr. Anderson. Questions for Dr. Anderson from the board? Hearing none, this is a first read, so we will see this at our next meeting. Thank you, Dr. Anderson. This time I invite Dr. Davis back to the podium.
So good evening again, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Fleming. I bring to you for first read a policy that we've looked at a couple of times in the past few months, the use of student transportation services. We recently made changes under Section C about the use of private vehicles. And after receiving more feedback from school administrators and discussions with Adam, we have recommended to completely remove the piece about hired vehicles. Many people thought that was hired vehicles such as Lyft and Uber, and it is not. It would be more people that like we would contract like a charter bus company. Well, we're not going to be calling a charter bus company at 9 o'clock at night if a kid's left behind to transport a kid home. So we want to remove that language about hired vehicles and just strictly prohibit it to protect our students or protect our staff as well as the students.
Okay. Questions or comments from the board?
I think we've seen various versions of this, and this is just a change from that standpoint, so no questions.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Davis.
Thank you.
I will invite Dr. McWhorter back to the podium for a policy update. Dr. Davis, don't go far.
Madam Chair, Dr. Fleming, members of the board, this change is for policy 3410, testing and assessment, and this change is per request of our high school principals. Essentially, students can be exempt from finals that are not state required if they meet certain criteria, that criteria being attendance and grades. As you would imagine, as teenagers tend to do, is they find that wiggle room in between, and that wiggle room for this case is tardies. And so what the high school principals have asked is that every 4 tardies count towards 1 absence for the purpose of exam exemption, helping our students or encouraging them to make it to class on time.
Thank you, Dr. McWhorter. Questions or comments from the board?
I think my comment is if the principals think this is a good idea, then I do also, and I agree about the tardies. So, no other comments.
All right. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
McWhorter. And we'll invite Dr. Davis back up.
Back again. Okay, so this is for a voting item. This is proposed revisions to the code of conduct for this school year. And of course, every summer we obtain feedback from principals, and then we meet and kind of review every comment that's made. And this year we were able to recommend all changes that they proposed. So the first one, if you'll pull up the presentation. Yes, thank you. The first one is Rule 6, inappropriate interpersonal behavior. We wanted to add in so at the top you'll see what it currently says. We just want to add a little bit of language after that first section that says inappropriate verbal comments of sexual and suggestive nature. They felt that due to some situations that happened this year, that additional language is needed within this rule. The second one is Rule 17, fighting and physical aggression. They wanted to add a third that's strictly dealt with roughhousing behavior, pantsing, and pranks, especially some things that they're seeing a lot at the middle school level. So we felt that adding an additional third example would be helpful. And the last one, Rule 23, we used to have all of these definitions or a couple of years ago when we removed them, and the principals have requested that we put the definitions for each. There are 8 of them. The other ones are on the second slide. They just kind of were able to put those into educators' handbooks, and they could actually add that to the offense whenever they were applying that rule. And those are the only 3 changes.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Davis. This is up for a vote for board approval this evening. If you have questions or comments, please ask those now, and if not, I will entertain a motion.
Yeah, I think all these are appropriate changes, and have any other comments, I'll let other board members chime in.
Mr. Rogers?
I just got a couple of questions. I mean, I think the changes do make a lot of sense. It's just more like general, maybe subjective type of things. So, like thinking about the part about the pranks and stuff, and how would that, I guess, how would that be defined out to students and families to understand what could be maybe constituted as a prank, and what would be looked at as those kind of pranks and stuff too?
Ultimately, if this is approved tonight, each principal, we will give them additional language that they can use with families so they can explain and share that messaging home. And we're talking about extreme cases of horseplaying that lead to bullying or that might lead to a fight. And of course, things that are more habitual too, that happen over and over again.
Okay. And then the other thing is just around like thinking about with our elementary school kids and the uncontrollable play or what that can look like as, like 6, 7, 8-year-olds and stuff. I mean, they play a whole lot. I mean, I've got a 6-year-old niece who plays around a lot and does stuff, and she even told me herself, looking at her shoes one day, she was like, well, I play really rough. So
Yeah.
I just thinking about that as far as like the discipline and how they could come down also too.
Yeah. And that's something that we can definitely add in there. Like these are acts that are habitual in nature, that are not just kids being kids. These are when the kids are taking it too far.
Okay. All right. So will be like additional guidance, additional language for the principals, and making sure that they're clearly stating that out to parents, the new changes of these codes of conduct.
Absolutely. And remember, within the code of conduct, there's also different ranges of consequences that they can give for elementary, middle, and high.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Davis.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Any other questions from the board?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Davis. At this time, I will open the floor up for board and superintendent comments, and I will allow the superintendent to kick us off.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, board members. Summer is winding down, and in a week we'll be full speed ahead. Of course, ABEC is already open, and I was able to spend some time at ABEC last week. I wanted to I want to go off the script a little bit and just talk about the optimism that I've seen in our school leaders, especially since our summer leadership a couple weeks ago. I can tell you, as many of them kind of know where in general they will fall when it comes to school performance. You can really tell they're excited to kick off the school year. They're engaged, and I haven't been in any staff meetings for more than just a few minutes, and today we were able to walk into a few, and of course we were there to interrupt and do some pretty cool things I'll mention in just a second. But you can just tell that our staff, they're really ready to start the school year. They're excited, and I think that excitement has kind of bled from our leadership down to into our schools and across our staff, and so I'm just real excited about that and wanted to make sure I mentioned that. But going into some more great news, today we did visit 3 schools. We were able to name our beginning teacher of the year, Christina Aguilera Escamilla at Smith Elementary. Our principal of the year is Mr. Eric Yarborough at Southeast High School, and our assistant principal of the year is Taylor Cochran at Alexander Wilson. And they all were very excited to find out. They were very surprised as well. It was just a great morning and afternoon that we did these, and I really think, again, you can feel that excitement. I am looking forward to our next meeting when we get to share our school performance outcomes with you. And I can't say too much, but wait until the next meeting, and I think you'll be just as happy as I am. We have a new tool called Highlight for all of our staff to share good news and appreciation for each other based on our core values of leadership, excellence, accountability, relationships, and nurturing. And those who receive highlights, they'll eventually earn points and all, and they can redeem them for gifts for ABSS merchandise, swag. There's gift cards. There'll be some other cool gifts that will be donated in the weeks to come. And so we're just real excited. We kicked that off at summer leadership, and I already noticed that our teachers and staff are already getting into it. Our principals have had access for a couple weeks, and it's just a good way for all of our staff. I'll just use myself as an example. It's going to be a great way for me to be able to go in. If I see something great going on in a classroom, I can send a message right there on the app and highlight that teacher or staff member for something wonderful that we saw. And so I'm really excited about using it. And I want to thank our communications department who's worked hard in getting that pushed out. You've been shared a copy of my first week school schedule where we'll be visiting. And please feel to join me for any of those visits that you would like. It's a busy but rewarding week. I invite our media to be there as well if they would like to follow me around. Christy, I know, is excited. She'll show up to 1 or 2. See, there you go. And so we look forward to having everyone join us for the opening of school. And just for your notes, our next meeting will be Tuesday, September 8th at 12:30 p.m. And that'll be our September work session, and again, that will be after the state board meeting, so we'll be able to share some good news. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Any questions for Dr. Fleming? Mr. Rogers.
One question, Dr. Fleming, and this might be something for a future meeting or something too, around our ML learners. Been hearing a couple of things around the ML learners and maybe like placements or something with that. So I guess just trying to get more understanding with that piece, and because since it's not on the agenda, I don't want to go further with it, but I think just giving an understanding around some things that I've heard with the ML learners.
Yeah, our academic staff can definitely do that, and if it's okay, Dr. McWhorter can share a little bit. We are providing some extra support. We're moving our ML staff out of Sellers Gun so they can be a little more public as well and have more access. I'm happy to let him share if you'd like to hear a little bit.
So for a few reasons, one, slightly declining ML population, losing some ML staff members, Sort of a consolidation of resources. We will be providing ML services at Cummings. Nothing really kind of out of the ordinary. Students that need ML services at high school will just go to Cummings. They'll receive those services just as we typically would for kids that might go to C-Tech or anywhere else. And it allows the ML department to really keep good hands on what's happening, the services those students are receiving. It keeps consistency across the district, and we're hopeful that it will turn out to be a much better situation and services for our high school ML students.
All right, so now you made me a further question. So with them being housed at Cummings, you said similar to like C-Tech. So if it's an ML student that's at another high school or somewhere, they would just come there for the services, or they would be Cummings students?
No, they would just be going for the service.
Okay, so they would still be housed at their school,
Correct.
but if there's
Yes.
additional service for the ML, then they're coming to Cummings.
Correct.
All right, I might have more for you, Dr. McWhorter.
And I will add, that's a lot of that is due to just very low numbers at many of our high schools, where it really stresses our staff to have to travel from high school to high school to provide services to 4, 5, or 6 students. And this just really makes it a lot easier for us to consolidate that service, and for Carlos's department to really keep a better handle on what's happening.
Okay, and so they would be provided like transportation, like similar to like C-Tech or the ACC students?
Correct.
And stuff. All right, I'll chat with you some more.
It sounds good.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. All right, Avery is not here this evening, so I will start with Mr. Rogers on board comments.
All right, well, thank you. First off, just want to say thank you to all of the folks who made public comments this evening. I know it wasn't a bunch, but those public comments are always very much important. Congratulations to that recognition around the summer reading, and even seeing like our things up on social media. Appreciate you, Mrs. Atkins and James, on what y'all were posting throughout the summer of the summer reading camps and how those things were going on, and all those coordinators, how hard they worked, and the teachers that was in the building, and the students and families, how hard they worked on that summer reading and the different things they were able to accomplish. That's going to have a real impact coming into the new school year. I want to give an update because I'm on the board from being on this board as liaison with the Alamance Partnership for Children. And one of the events that they're going to have coming up in October is the Early Educators Banquet that is going to happen October the 3rd at the Dream Center from 6 to 8 o'clock. Maybe I'll be able to provide more information, and any board members that might want to attend that, because early education is a true foundation of what education is going to look like for our students. That is true, even if I didn't say it out of my mouth, it is very true. But I think that is very important also. And then another thing that just wanted to bring more things to is my work with the North Carolina Commission around accessibility. Being on there, if there's anything that people are seeing from the state of North Carolina as far as like government accessibility and things through websites or not understanding, please reach out, because that is stuff that I'm able to have access to a lot of people who work in these departments and can talk about those things, and trying to basically make our government at the state level more accessible to people. Because being just regular citizens, trying to understand how your government needs to work for you and the accessibility you need, I think is very important also too. Of course, welcome back to our students in 1 week. I know our teachers are in there right now getting classrooms together, going through staff meetings, getting prepared for the upcoming school year. The ABEX students are already back in their groove and getting things going. I think some of our students that are taking classes at ACC, they started today, because talking to my wife who works at ACC, she said it was a full day. It was a lot of things going on, but that is exciting. And of course, as a board, we want to always make sure that we keep our focus on strong academic achievement and our students learning going forward, making sure that all of our students, staff feel like they're very much supported in what they're going to be doing in the upcoming school year and making sure that we're doing what we need to do to advocate for public education, because we sit on the board for public education. Thank you to our cabinet for all of y'all's hard work and all of these various presentations and things that y'all are doing to get prepared for the school year. But throughout this whole summer, the work that y'all have done put in is very vital to a district and how we work as a district, and all of your staffs also too. And then also just addressing some things with community members right now. I know it's a lot of various things going on and people feeling real type of ways about stuff. And I think at the end of the day, sometimes what goes on with adults get in the way of kids. And we have to make sure that the focus at the end of the day on whatever we are doing is about the kids and about the kids having their opportunities to be their best selves, and what those opportunities is going to look like for them. And that cannot get lost because of the feelings of adults or the ways that adults just feel like things should be. We got to make sure whatever we are doing is with the kids at the main focus, and also relaying that to the teaching and learning of our students. And that needs to always be your main goal for myself as a person on this board, but just, and what I feel like I live with every day is about what can we do to make sure the next generation is getting the opportunity to be as successful as possible. And sometimes that is stepping out of the way and allowing for them to grow on the pathway that they have set forward. And just, I guess not really lastly, but I really just want to thank all of our school staff, educators, bus drivers, TAs, office staff, all of the various people who truly make our district work in so many ways that some people are seen, but then some are unseen also. Just thank you for what you do every day and how you chose to be a part of ABSS. I know me and Dr. Hall was over there at the beginning for the beginning teachers orientation, and that was the main message that we told to them, which I do appreciate our beginning teachers coordinators. Their theme this year was awesome with the signing day, and they're joining the ABSS League. I thought that was very great how they did that, the principal showing up with those props. But both of us was just steady talking about the fact that we're so grateful that you chose to be a part of ABSS, because you could have chose to be various other places, other professions, but coming into education, I feel like is going to be a very fulfilling thing for a lot of those beginning teachers and what impact they can have on students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Dr. Parker?
I hope everyone's excited for the start of the school year. I want to say, first of all, thanks to everyone who worked through the summer on the ABSS staff. I know the principals, their teachers probably doing lesson plans right now, the maintenance that was done over the summer, the data managers, the unjustly maligned but hardworking central office employees, and really everybody else who worked through the summer to make it possible to have a great start of the school year. I'll say there's something about it. I personally love office supplies, and getting new notebooks where I haven't written down a mistake yet is something that I always look forward to. So I'm going to the Southeast Alamance open house, and any of those events, you kind of feel the excitement and the energy in the air for the people coming back and ready to get learning. I say to students, I hope you had a restful and enjoyable summer and are coming back ready to learn and grow. I know your parents are very excited, and so are the teachers who are going to meet you shortly. And I have to say, this year I'm really confident ABSS is going to have a great year. And I look forward to seeing what the students and staff and families and what we all do together, over the next school year. The best wishes for everyone, and I hope we all have a productive year ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Ms. Harvey?
Good evening. I want to start off a little differently. So happy first day of college to my daughter Fruity and all the 2026 graduates who started college classes today. Thank you to all the speakers who came out to speak. The recognitions for the summer reading camp was amazing. Over the past few weeks, I've been contemplating whether serving on the school board was still the right fit for me. But I'm reminded daily by students, teachers, and my own children of why I'm here. Sometimes we become so focused on what's wrong that we forget our true purpose and what's truly right. Yes, laws and rules guide us, but what truly defines right? My sense of right and your sense of right might differ, and sometimes our wrongs could be justified. Just because someone says it's right doesn't automatically make it so. To those advocating for what you feel is right, keep going. Use your voice every 3 minutes you have the chance to speak at a podium. School begins in 7 days, and in our community, some students will start school wearing the same clothes from last year, carrying the same book bag, wearing the same embarrassed to wear shoes, but the reality is that that's all they have. Many still face hunger with no food at home. Don't let these hardships stop you from pursuing an education or from being your best, smartest, most outspoken self. You matter, and you ask how I can say that, because I once was you. You are my reason, and as long as I sit in this seat, I will never forget where I came from, and I will always do right by you and every student who enter ABSS. Enjoy what's left of your summer, and have a great start to your school year.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Dr. Hall?
Just reiterating the many points here, thank you to all those who have been getting school ready for us, to kick off here. I just want to reiterate, thank you to the community that has been setting up, listening to the gifts and the grants that, our community invests into our school system. Had a chance to be with some of these fine people at the back to school event that was put on there, and just seeing like the community come together and put out resources, and the excitement that of everybody there to get us ready for the school year was a lot of fun to see. Echoing what Mr. Rogers said, the new teacher event that we went to was a fantastic event. You could just feel the energy there, just was really well done. And yeah, it was very appreciative to have those teachers there to represent ABSS, and we're here to help support them and obviously our students. Along with excitement, I have a lot of nerves going into this year. With my own kids going into school, my 4th grade daughter is ready to go. I talked to her teacher on the phone today. Lots of excitement there, new teacher to the system. We're excited for her. And then my son's going to middle school, and I don't know if I'm going to make it, friends. I just don't know. I can't do it. He's ready to go, but I don't think he's ready to go. But with that being said, I know that there's a lot of support that's going to be for him when he goes to school. And that's a piece that I feel good about, is I know what our system does, and I feel confident to release him and let him go into, and become the person that he is. So just thank you, everybody here, and it's a privilege to represent this system, and we'll continue to do so.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. I'll just kind of echo a lot of some of the points that have been made. Welcome back. Today we welcomed back our teachers and staff. A couple weeks ago, I think it was week before last, we welcomed back ABEC, our Alamance Burlington Early College students, and next Monday, or this coming Monday, we welcome back our ABSS students and families. So just a huge welcome. Again, thank you to everybody that has contributed in some way to making this year the success that I think that it promises to be. And then if you will, just keep Vice Chair Engel in your thoughts and prayers for a successful surgery tomorrow, and then of course a speedy recovery so we can welcome him back. And that's all I have. Dr. Parker, I believe that you have a motion for us.
I make a motion we enter closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to preserve attorney-client privilege, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6 to consider confidential personnel information protected under North Carolina General Statute 115C-319 and 115C-321.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. At this time, we'll move into closed session. We are back in open session. I welcome Dr. Yolanda Anderson, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, to the podium for personnel report.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. I ask that you approve the personnel report as presented in closed session.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson. Is there a
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the Second Amendment to Dr. Fleming's employment contract.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. Is there any other business before the board this evening?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Dr.
Second.
Parker. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 5-0. We'll see you next month.